The pipes burst with a deafening roar, water exploding from every corner of the grand ballroom. Folake stumbled backward, her simple uniform soaked instantly as the woman in white, the bride, rose 3 feet off the ground, her beautiful face twisting into something ancient and monstrous. Her eyes glowed green like phosphorescent deep-sea creatures, and her fingers elongated into webbed claws dripping with lagoon water. "You worthless insect!" Yetunde's voice echoed with the sound of crashing waves and drowning screams. "You dare interrupt my wedding?" The guests fled in terror, their designer agbadas and expensive gowns trailing behind them as they scrambled for the exits. Chief Ogunleye collapsed to his knees, looking more dead than alive, his skin grey and papery like ancient parchment. Folake clutched the small pouch of blessed salt in her trembling hands and whispered a prayer her grandmother had taught her. This was it. This was the moment that would determine whether she lived or died. But how did a simple village girl end up fighting a 300-year-old water spirit in a billionaire's mansion? To understand that, we need to go back 3 weeks. 3 weeks earlier, Folake stepped off a battered downfall bus at the servants' entrance of the most magnificent estate she had ever seen. The mansion rose before her like something from a fever dream, marble columns gleaming white in the Lagos sun, golden fixtures catching the light, armed guards stationed at every corner. She adjusted her faded headscarf and gripped her single worn bag tighter, fighting the urge to turn around and run. "You must be Folake," a thin man in an immaculate butler's uniform said, his voice flat and resigned. "I'm Mr. Akindale, the head butler. Follow me." He didn't wait for her response, just turned and walked through corridors so opulent they made her dizzy. Crystal chandeliers, Persian rugs, artwork that probably cost more than her entire village. Other servants stared as they passed, their faces a mixture of pity and fear that made Folake's stomach twist. "Mr. Akindale, sir," she said, hurrying to keep up with his brisk pace. "The agency said Chief Ogunleye needs domestic help urgently. They said the pay was generous." The butler stopped so abruptly she almost crashed into him. He turned, his eyes dark with something Folake couldn't name. "The pay is generous because no one stays. We've had 6 maids in 4 months. Before Folake could respond, a round woman in kitchen whites emerged from a side door, flour dusting her dark hands. Her eyes widened when she saw Folake. Oh. Another one." The woman hurried over, gripping Folake's shoulders. "Child, what is your name?" "Folake, Ma." "I'm Mama Abeni, the cook." "Folake, did they not tell you about this house at the agency?" Folake shifted her weight, uncomfortable under the woman's intense stare. "They said the previous maids left suddenly. But Mama Abeni, I need this job. My mother is sick with diabetes, my younger ones need school fees. I'm not afraid of hard work." Mama Abeni's eyes filled with tears. She pulled Folake closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Child, it's not the work we fear. It's what lives here." "What do you mean?" The cook glanced around nervously. "The first girl, Amoka, she ran screaming after 2 days. Wouldn't tell anyone what she saw. The second one, Blessing, they found her wandering Lake Expressway at midnight, talking to herself about green eyes and drowning. She's in a psychiatric hospital now. The third girl, Chioma." Mama Abeni's voice broke. "She vanished. Her family is still searching." Ice water seemed to pour down Folake's spine. "What about the others?" "Gone. All gone. Within days." Mama Abeni squeezed her hands. "Please, child. Tell them you're sick. Leave before sunset. Whatever money you need, we will find another way." Folake thought of her mother's swollen feet, her siblings' hungry faces, the crushing debt that kept growing. "I can't leave, Mama. I have nowhere else to go." The older woman sighed deeply, making the sign of the cross. "Then may your ancestors protect you. Keep salt in your pockets at all times. Don't go to the east wing after dark. And whatever you do, never, ever look that woman directly in the eyes? What woman? You'll see soon enough. That evening, Folake was polishing the massive staircase when the temperature plummeted. Her breath misted in the air despite the oppressive Lagos heat. The hair on her arm stood up, and every instinct screamed at her to run. Click! 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 The sound of heels on marble, but wrong somehow. Too perfect, too rhythmic, like a metronome instead of footsteps. You must be the new help. The voice was honey and ice, silk and razors. Folake looked up and forgot how to breathe. The woman descending the stairs was the most beautiful thing Folake had ever seen. Smooth dark skin that seemed to glow from within, features so perfect they looked carved by angels, wearing a flowing white dress that moved like water. Her hair cascaded down her back in waves that defied gravity. But her eyes. Oh God, her eyes. For just a split second, Folake saw something else, ancient, inhuman, hungry. Eyes that had watched civilizations rise and fall. Eyes that belonged to something that wore human beauty like a costume. I'm Yetunde, the woman said, gliding closer. Chief Ogunleye's fiancée. And you are? F. Folake, ma. Her tongue felt thick, her mouth dry. Yetunde circled her slowly, like a lioness examining prey. When she reached out to touch Folake's cheek, her hand was ice cold, corpse cold. Such innocent eyes, Yetunde murmured, her lips curving into a smile that never reached those terrible eyes. Such a pure heart. How refreshing. She leaned closer, her breath smelling of salt water and deep ocean places. Let's see how long you last, little maid. Then she glided away, her white dress trailing behind her. Folake looked down at the marble floor where Yetunde had walked. The floor was covered in a thin layer of dust from the renovation work. There were no footprints. Folake's hands shook so badly she dropped her polishing cloth. She bent to pick it up, her mind racing. No footprints. The woman had left no footprints. What kind of person leaves no footprints? That night, Folake lay in her narrow bed in the servants' quarters, unable to sleep. At exactly 3 a.m., she heard it, a low chanting in a language that predated words. It came from the east wing, from Yetunde's private rooms that no servant was allowed to enter. Against every ounce of common sense, Folake crept from her bed and followed the sound. The corridors were dark, lit only by emergency lights that cast long shadows. The chanting grew louder as she approached the heavy mahogany doors of Yetunde's chambers. Folake dropped to her knees and peered through the keyhole. Yetunde knelt in a circle of white candles, her white dress pulled around her. Her eyes were closed, her head tilted back, speaking words that made Folake's ears ache. The temperature around Folake dropped further, frost forming on the door handle. Then Yetunde's eyes snapped open, glowing green, inhuman, locked directly on the keyhole. Directly on Folake. I know you're watching, child. Folake ran. She ran like her life depended on it, her bare feet slapping against cold marble, her heart threatening to burst from her chest. She didn't stop until she was back in her room, door locked, breathing in ragged gasps. She couldn't stay here. She had to leave. First thing in the morning, she would leave. But morning brought new horrors. Folake was serving breakfast in the grand dining room when Chief Ogunleye entered. She had seen photos of him in the hallway, a handsome, powerful man of 42 with smooth skin and a confident smile, his eyes sharp with intelligence. The man who shuffled into the dining room looked 60. Gray streaked his hair, deep lines carved his face, and his eyes were hollow and lifeless. His expensive designer suit hung off his frame like he had shrunk inside it. Good morning, my love, Yetunde said sweetly, gesturing to the chair beside her. She looked more radiant than ever, practically glowing with vitality. Chief Ogunleye sat mechanically, his movements puppet-like. Yetunde fed him from her own plate, and he chewed without tasting, without seeing, without being present at all. Folake's hands trembled as she poured orange juice. On the wall behind them hung a photo from 6 months ago, Chief Ogunleye at a business conference, vital and commanding, looking like he could conquer the world. What had happened to him in 6 months? She served the food in silence, but she couldn't stop staring at the old photographs lining the walls. Chief Ogunleye with the president. Chief Ogunleye cutting ribbons at building openings. Chief Ogunleye laughing with his children at the beach. In every photo before 6 months ago, he was alive. After 6 months ago, he was dying. Is something wrong, Folake? Yetunde asked, her voice sharp. No, Ma. Nothing, Ma. Then stop staring and do your work. Yetunde's smile was all teeth. Unless you want to join the other maids who couldn't follow simple instructions. That evening, Folake was organizing Yetunde's walk-in closet, a room larger than the home Folake grew up in, filled with designer clothes and expensive jewelry. As she arranged shoes, her hand caught on a hidden latch in the floor. A small door popped open. Inside was a wooden chest, ornately carved with symbols that hurt to look at. The lock was old and rusted. When Folake tried to lift the chest, the lock broke with a soft click. She shouldn't open it. She knew she shouldn't. But her hands moved of their own accord, lifting the lid. Jewelry spilled out, necklaces, rings, bracelets, all expensive, all different styles. Underneath were photographs. Dozens of them. Hundreds. Men in 1920s suits standing beside Model T Fords. Men in 1950s clothing at independence celebrations. Men in 1980s fashion at oil rig openings. Different men, different decades, but all with the same expression of joy turning to horror. In the early photos, they were healthy and powerful. In the later photos, they were withered husks. And in every single photograph, standing beside them, looking exactly the same, was Yetunde. Curious little mouse. Folake's heart stopped. She spun around to find Yetunde standing in the doorway, her beautiful face expressionless. I was just organizing, I didn't mean to, the lock was already broken, I swear. Yetunde glided into the room with that eerie, floating walk. Curiosity killed the cat, you know. She picked up a photo from the 1940s, studying it fondly. But satisfaction brought it back. Or did it? Please, ma'am, I'll put everything back. Do you know what these men had in common? Yetunde's voice was conversational, almost friendly. They were powerful. Rich. Convinced they were untouchable. She looked up, her eyes that terrible grin. They all thought they could have everything they wanted. They were wrong. Folake backed toward the door. I won't tell anyone. I swear. Oh, child. I know you won't. Yetunde smiled, and for a moment her face flickered, scales instead of skin, gills instead of ears, teeth too sharp and too many. Because who would believe a simple village girl over Chief Ogunleye's beautiful fiancée? Folake ran again, Yetunde's laughter following her like waves crashing on rocks. If you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that subscribe button, because what happens next will change everything. Drop a comment telling me if you'd be brave enough to stay in that mansion. The next morning, Folake found Chief Ogunleye alone in his study, staring out at the rain. She brought him his tea, her hands still shaking from last night's encounter. Sir, your tea. He didn't acknowledge her at first. Then, without turning, he spoke in a voice like rustling paper. Why did you take this job? Sir. The other maids ran. They were smart. He finally turned to look at her, and up close he looked even worse. Why did you stay? Folake set down the tea. My mother is sick. My siblings need school fees. I didn't have a choice. We always have a choice. He laughed bitterly. I made mine a year ago. At Bar Beach. Despite her fear, curiosity won. What happened at Bar Beach? Chief Ogunleye's eyes went distant, glassy. I was at my lowest. Business failing, wife dead from cancer, drowning in debt. I went to the beach to end it. He took a shuddering breath. And then she emerged from the waves. Yetunde. Like a goddess. Like salvation. Folake's blood ran cold. She came from the water. Everything changed after I met her. Every business deal succeeded. Money flowed like rivers. I became the richest man in Lagos in 6 months. He rolled up his sleeves, and Folake gasped. Strange marks covered his arms, circular scars that looked like sucker marks from some sea creature, radiating out from his veins like they were being drained. The price keeps rising, he whispered. The wedding is in 5 days. After that. His voice broke. After that, I don't know if there will be anything left of me. Sir, you have to stop the wedding. You have to. I can't. He grabbed her shoulders, his grip weak but desperate. Don't you understand? I'm bound to her. I signed contracts in my own blood. I gave her permission to take everything. Tears streamed down his weathered face. Why am I telling you this? You need to leave. Run. Before she punishes you for my weakness. Adebayo, my love. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Chief Ogunleye's eyes went blank. He released Folake and walked toward the door like a man in a trance. Come in, my darling, he said in that hollow voice. Folake watched him go, her mind reeling. 5 days. In 5 days, whatever remained of Chief Ogunleye would be consumed entirely. That night, Folake video-called her grandmother in the village using the small data bundle she had saved. Grandma Ayabo's wrinkled face filled the screen, her wise eyes seeing too much. Oh mommy, you look like you've seen a ghost. Worse, Grandma. Much worse. Folake poured out everything, Yetunde emerging from the ocean, the photograph spanning decades, Chief Ogunleye wasting away, the inhuman face she had glimpsed. Grandma Ayabo's expression grew grave. You are in the house of Mami Wata. A water spirit. What is that? Listen carefully, child. Mami Wata are ancient spirits of the ocean. They take human form to seduce powerful men, offering wealth and success. But it's a trap. The old woman's voice trembled. They drain life force slowly, feeding on the victim's essence until they have enough power to become permanently human. The marriage ceremony is the final binding, it chains the victim's soul forever. After the wedding, the man dies within days, and the spirit becomes fully human, free to hunt again. Folake's hands shook so badly she almost dropped the phone. How do I stop it? You can't. Only the victim can break the binding by rejecting her with his whole heart. But after months of feeding, most men are too far gone. Their wills are broken. There has to be something I can do. Grandma Ayabo studied her granddaughter's face for a long moment. Do you remember what I always told you about your gift? Folake did remember. Since childhood, she had seen things others couldn't, shadows that moved wrong, faces in mirrors that didn't match their owners, spirits lingering in doorways. Grandma said it was the sight, passed down through their family line. You can see beyond the veil, like me, Grandma said. Your pure heart is your shield against dark forces. But child, if you choose to fight this, you must know, water spirits are cunning and cruel. Many have tried to stop them. Few have succeeded. Tell me what I need. Grandma Ayabo gave her a list: salt from the ocean blessed by a priest, palm oil consecrated with prayers, red earth from their home village, iron nails from a church gate. Items that carried spiritual power. But most importantly, Grandma added, you need allies. You cannot fight this alone. Over the next 2 days, Folake secretly gathered the items. Mama Abini helped, whispering prayers over the salt. Mr. Akindale obtained the iron nails from an old church in Suralia. Ojo, the gardener, brought red earth from his village. By dawn, the driver collected ocean water from the exact spot where Chief Ogunleye said he first met Yetunde. They met in the servants' quarters after midnight, speaking in hushed voices. "I can't believe I'm doing this," Mr. Akindele muttered, wiping sweat from his brow. "If she finds out..." "She already knows," Mama Abeni said grimly. "That demon sees everything in this house." "Not everything," Folake said, showing them the items. "These are shielded by prayer. She can't track them." Biodon, a muscular man in his 30s, shook his head. "I still don't understand. She's just a woman. How can she be a spirit?" "You've been driving her to Bar Beach every full moon for 6 months, Folake said. "You've seen her walk into the ocean for hours. Did you ever wonder why she never drowns?" Biodon's face went ashen. I thought she was just a strong swimmer." "Show them, Folake," Mama Abeni urged. Folake pulled out her phone, showing them the video she had recorded the previous night, footage of Yetunde's reflection in a hallway mirror. While Yetunde appeared beautiful and human, her reflection showed something else, a creature with greenish scaled skin, webbed fingers, and eyes like a predator fish. Ojo, the young gardener, made the sign of the cross. "Billionaire protect us." "What kind of demon is this?" "The kind that's been killing powerful men for 300 years, Folake said. "The kind that will kill Chief Ogunleye in 3 days unless we stop her." They formed a plan. During the wedding ceremony, they would create a salt barrier to trap Yetunde, preventing her from completing the binding ritual. When trapped, her true form would be revealed to all the guests. The shock and public exposure should weaken her enough for Chief Ogunleye to break free. It was risky. It was dangerous. It would probably fail. But they had to try. That night, Folake was awakened by ice-cold water dripping on her face. She opened her eyes to find Yetunde standing over her bed, her form flickering between beautiful woman and sea creature. "Did you really think I wouldn't know?" Yetunde's voice echoed with the sound of drowning. "Did you really think you could plot against me in my own house?" Before Folake could scream, Yetunde's hand clamped over her mouth. The fingers were webbed and scaled, impossibly strong. "I have existed for 300 years, Yetunde hissed, her face fully transforming now, gills opening and closing on her neck, teeth sharp as broken glass, eyes glowing with bioluminescent green. "I have consumed kings, presidents, empire builders. What are you?" "A village girl who thinks prayer and salt will save her." She released Folake, who gasped for air, her lungs burning. "Tomorrow night is the wedding," Yetunde continued, her voice like waves crashing on rocks. "Adebayo's soul will be mine forever." "And you?" She smiled with too many teeth. "You will watch him die, knowing you failed." Yetunde's form dissolved into water, soaking through the floorboards, leaving Folake trembling and soaked in her bed. The wedding day arrived with beautiful weather, clear skies, gentle breeze, the kind of day that promised joy and new beginnings. The irony wasn't lost on Folake as she helped prepare the grand ballroom. Everything was decorated in pure white, white roses, white silk, white candles. It looked like a funeral. Guests began arriving at sunset, politicians in expensive agbadas, business moguls, society's elite. None of them knew they were attending a ritual sacrifice. Chief Ogunleye appeared in his white wedding attire, and Folake wanted to cry. He looked like a walking corpse, his skin grey and papery, his eyes vacant. He moved like a puppet with cut strings. Yetunde descended the grand staircase in a wedding gown that seemed woven from seafoam and moonlight. She was radiant, glowing, more beautiful than ever. While the chief withered, she bloomed, a parasite in its final feast. The ceremony began as the full moon rose outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. A priest in traditional robe started the ritual, speaking words in Yoruba and English, not knowing he was conducting something far darker than a wedding. Folake stood in the corner with the other servants, her heart pounding. She had salt in her pockets, blessed oil in a small vial hidden in her uniform. The other servants were positioned around the room with their own supplies. This had to work. It had to. The priest spoke the traditional words, "If anyone here has objection to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace." This was it. The moment. But Folake's voice stuck in her throat. What if they failed? What if Yetunde killed them all? What if? Mama Abeni caught her eye from across the room and nodded. Do it, child. Folake stepped forward. I object. The ballroom fell silent. Every head turned. 300 guests stared at the simple housemaid who dared interrupt a billionaire's wedding. Yetunde turned slowly, her beautiful face a mask of rage. You worthless insect. What did you say? Folake's voice shook but she forced the words out. I object because this woman is not what she seems. Before Yetunde could respond, Folake threw the blessed salt in a wide circle around the bride. The other servants did the same from their positions, creating a barrier of salt that glowed with spiritual energy. Yetunde screamed, a sound like whales dying in the deep. Her beautiful form flickered, revealing glimpses of the creature underneath. Scales. Gills. Webbed hands. Eyes that belonged to something from the ocean's darkest depths. Guests shrieked and scrambled for the exit. You dare. Yetunde's voice was no longer human. You dare. She tried to step out of the salt circle but recoiled as if burned. Her skin sizzled where it touched the blessed barrier. For a moment, Folake thought they had won. Then the pipes burst. Water exploded from every corner of the ballroom, from the ceiling, the walls, the floor. The salt barrier washed away in seconds, and Yetunde rose into the air, fully transformed now. No more beautiful woman. Only the monster. And that's where we came in. Yetunde floated 3 feet off the ground, her webbed fingers crackling with energy. You've signed your death warrant, little maid. She thrust her hand forward, and a wave of water slammed into Folake, throwing her against the wall. The breath left her lungs in a painful rush. Folake. Mama Abeni tried to run to her, but Yetunde gestured and the cook froze mid-step, encased in water, drowning on dry land. The other servants tried to fight, throwing blessed oil, iron nails, but Yetunde was too strong. Centuries of feeding, of consuming powerful men, had made her nearly invincible. Did you really think you could stop me? Yetunde laughed, the sound of shipwrecks and drowning. I am ancient. I am eternal. I am a thief. Everyone turned. Chief Ogunleye stood, water streaming down his face, whether from the burst pipes or tears, Folake couldn't tell. But his eyes were alive again. You're a thief and a liar, he said, his voice growing stronger. I gave you power over me. I welcomed you in. But I was wrong. Adebayo, my love, you're confused. Yetunde's voice shifted back to honey, trying to regain control. Don't. Chief Ogunleye shouted. Don't use that voice. Don't use that face. I see you now. I see what you really are. He stumbled forward, weak but determined. I thought you were my salvation. But you were my damnation. I chose wealth over wisdom. I chose beauty over truth. Tears streamed down his face. I forgot what it means to be human. To feel. To love. To live. Yetunde's form flickered, weakening. You can't break the binding. You signed in blood. You gave permission. Then I take it back. Chief Ogunleye's voice echoed through the flooded ballroom. I name you for what you are, deceiver. Parasite. Thief of souls. The naming had power. Yetunde shrieked, her form destabilizing. I reject your false gifts, the chief continued. I reject your poison wealth. I choose life. I choose truth. I choose to be human again. Light exploded from Chief Ogunleye's chest, the stolen life force Yetunde had taken, returning to its rightful owner. Color flooded back into his skin. The gray in his hair receded. The hollow look in his eyes vanished. Yetunde screamed, her form dissolving, breaking apart into water and foam, an ancient rage. This isn't over. Her voice echoed as she dissolved. Others will come. They always come. The ocean is vast and hungry, and men like you are everywhere. Then she was gone, flowing through the drains, back to whatever dark place spawned her. The ballroom fell silent except for the sound of water dripping. Mama Abeni gasped as the water prison released her. The servants rushed to help each other up. Chief Ogunleye collapsed, and Folake caught him. He looked up at her with clear eyes, younger eyes, alive eyes. "Thank you," he whispered. "Thank you for not giving up on me." 3 months later, Folake sat in a comfortable chair in Chief Ogunleye's study, the same study where he had first shown her the marks on his arms. The marks were gone now, faded to nothing. The chief was a different man. He had reconciled with his estranged children, started a charitable foundation, funded a hospital in Folake's village. He smiled more, laughed more, lived more. "Your mother's treatment is going well?" he asked, signing the final check. "Very well, sir. The doctors say the new medication is working." "Good. And your siblings?" "All in school now. University for the oldest, secondary school for the others." Chief Ogunleye set down his pen and looked at her. "Folake, I owe you my life. My soul. Everything. You saved yourself, Chief. I just reminded you that you could." He smiled. "Stay as long as you want. Not as a maid, as family. This house is your home." But Folake shook her head. "I need to go back to my village for a while. My grandmother is getting older. She wants to teach me more about the gift." The chief nodded slowly. "The sight. The ability to see beyond the veil." He handed her an envelope. "Then take this. 6 months' salary. And a promise, if you ever need anything at all, you call me." As Folake rode the bus back to her village, she watched the landscape roll by. They passed Bar Beach, and she found herself staring at the waves. A beautiful woman stood at the shore, wearing a flowing white dress. Even from the moving bus, Folake could see her clearly. The woman turned, her eyes meeting Folake's through the window. She smiled, a predator smile, and raised one hand in a mocking wave. Then she turned and walked into the ocean, the wave swallowing her without a splash. Folake's blood ran cold. Grandma Ayabo had been right. Mami Wata spirits were real, ancient, and hungry. This one was gone, but how many others lurked in the depths? Her phone buzzed. A message from Mama Abeni, another billionaire just got engaged to a mysterious woman he met at the beach. "She's too beautiful. Too perfect. Should I be worried?" Folake stared at the message, then at the ocean disappearing behind them. The bus rumbled on, carrying her away from Lagos and toward home. But something had changed in her. She had fought a monster and won. She had seen the darkness that wore beautiful faces. And she knew, with terrible certainty, that her fight wasn't over. It had only just begun. If you made it this far, you're part of something special. Hit that subscribe button and drop a comment. Have you ever encountered something that seemed too good to be true? Ring the notification bell because trust me, there are more stories like this, and they are all true. Like this video if you believe some evils walk among us wearing beautiful masks. The ocean keeps its secrets well. But sometimes, those secrets come ashore, hunting for their next victim. And when they do, someone has to stand between the monsters and the innocent. Someone like Folake. But here's what Folake didn't know as her bus carried her toward the village. 300 miles away in Abuja, another young woman was accepting a housekeeping position in a politician's mansion. The man had just gotten engaged to a stunning woman he met at Joby Lake. A woman who emerged from the water like a goddess. The new maid's name was Chidinma, and she had no idea what was waiting for her. And in Lagos, in the mansion Folake had just left, Chief Ogunleye stood in his study looking at a photograph on his desk. His children. His late wife. His second chance at life. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Hello. The voice on the other end was silk and honey, salt water and deep ocean places. Did you really think you could reject me and leave, Adebayo? His blood turned to ice. Did you really think breaking the binding would set you free? Outside his window, the swimming pool began to bubble and churn, despite no one being in it. I'm coming back for you, my love. And this time, there will be no interruptions. No brave little maid to save you. The line went dead. Chief Ogunleye dropped the phone, his newly recovered hands shaking. In the swimming pool, something moved beneath the surface. Something with glowing green eyes. The water rippled. And from its depths, pale webbed fingers broke the surface, grasping the edge of the pool. Pulling something up. Something that had never really left. The phone rang again, buzzing angrily on the floor where he dropped it. Chief Ogunleye stared at it, paralyzed with terror. Should he answer? Should he call Folake? Should he run? But where could you run from something that lived in every body of water? In every rain puddle, every glass of water, every tear you cried. The phone kept ringing. Somewhere in the mansion, a faucet turned on by itself. Then another. Then another. The sound of running water filled the house like a promise. Or a threat. The phone rang. And rang. And rang.